everyone, welcome to my channel, Life and Literature. My name's Emily and today I'm going to be talking about my payday book choice of the month, which is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. If this is something you'd be interested in, to kind of talk you through my process of every single month of my choice of book and also about the book itself, then please keep on watching. So when every payday comes along, I find myself going to a list of books that I have of what I kind of save for a payday. There's a few exceptions to the rule, which is new releases that I kind of either have prepaid for, that I'm waiting to come out, or as soon as they do come out I just purchase them straight away. But there are a few on the list where I see them talked about in films, TV shows, YouTube itself and TikTok, because TikTok is a huge part of some of the books that I have been very interested in. But this book itself, my actual mum has been talking about for the last couple of months, saying that it is apparently a very amazing book. She gave it very high reviews from somebody else and told me that it was something I should read. Now, the premise of The Midnight Library is one I was already very intrigued about. So when I looked online, I read the blurb and it is: Nora's life has been going from bad to worse. Then at the stroke of midnight on her last day on Earth, she finds herself transported to a library. There she is given the chance to undo her regrets and try each of the other lives she might have lived, which raises the ultimate question: with infinite choices, what is the best way to live? Now, I love this because, and the premise of it, before I even read it, was that you come to a point in your life, as everyone does, and you question 20 million things you could have done differently, you could have done wrong, what would have happened, and would have your life ever have been better? And I think it's something everybody thinks at some point or another. There's always that one decision that you wonder how it would have gone. And for Nora, this is a huge part of her entire life. She's always thought, what if? And she's abundantly clear of having all these amazing talents that she doesn't know which one to pursue in life, and ends up not really kind of pursuing really any of them. And that's really sad to kind of feel like she just left her life very uneventful, as she felt. Now, when I go through my list, I go and try and find where... I don't always like to find the cheapest book, but I like to kind of look around and see if there are any deals anywhere, because spending out once a month, even that is a limit for me, to only get a few books is very challenging. Without breaking the bank. Now, I looked on WH Smith to see how much it was on there, and I also looked at Amazon. I found that Amazon just did have a cheaper option, and it's free delivery because I have Prime, so I just went straight and got it off of Amazon itself. It came within a day and I read it within a day, because it is just a lovely book. As soon as I opened it in the post, a beautiful yellow spine and deep blue front with the Midnight Library, and a little beautiful almost paper box of a house of the library, of which most of the story is set within of the premise. Now, this book is not only about Nora Seed, who is really trapped in her life, seeing herself as a failure, a disposable person, a waste of space, nothing to achieve. She doesn't feel like she's going to be missed or thought about by anyone, and it's really about regrets, unfinished plans, approval of families, drugs, mistakes, giving up, losing your dream, self-regret, insecurity, self-harm, love, passion and hate. There is so much covered within this book, and honestly, even with all of that said, it is still very uplifting. Now, when Nora tries to end her life, she opens herself into a library. She's awoken by a lovely teacher that she used to have called Mrs. I think it's Mrs. Elm. Mrs. Elm, I'm right. I thought I can't have forgotten it in a couple of days, but yeah, Mrs. Elm greets her, who used to be her childhood librarian. If she can find the right book, the most proper and fulfilling life, which she does not hate, then she can go on to live that rest of the life. And Mrs. Elm kind of guides her through different situations that she can try out in her life and try the what ifs. Now, Nora could be a swimmer. She could be a rock star, a philosopher, a wife, a traveller, a glaciologist, a mother, a winery expert, owner of a local pub, and so much more. She can say yes to her ex, accept his offer of living in a small town and owning a pub. She can say yes to a coffee date with a new acquaintance and fall head over heels in love and start a family. She can pursue happiness and love and fame and medals, or she can taste the absolute charming nature of a suburban life, or the path untaken. And all of this leaves her very overwhelmed, because she does. I love the fact that in this book she tries out so many different aspects of her personality, of where they can go and where they can take her. Matt Haig really offers a touching narrative that speaks of the joys and love of living. Attained through Nora's eyes, she tries to untangle what really matters in her life, putting life into context and perspective with all its ongoing changes and complexities, and it can be perfect without being perfect, without even knowing. It's a stunning, beautiful book. I was emotional from front to back. It clenched my heart in 20 million different ways, and it was beyond beautiful. I loved this book. I delved through it within, I think, 3 or 4 hours because I did not want to put it down. And by the end of it, I was busting for the toilet and very, very thirsty. But there was no way this book was going to stop until I finished it and found out what happened to Nora, because she is a beautiful, complex creature, and I felt like she just needed someone to believe in her and tell her that she could be whoever she wanted to be, do whatever she wanted to do, and that could even be the person she still is. She's got that in her, she always has, and it's lovely to kind of see her just blossom into someone that really understands what's going on. Now, she does talk a lot in philosophical terms, because she studied philosophy in her, what she calls her root life, which is her core life, her beginning life, the life that she led before going into the library. And she has such an interesting way to understand each scenario that she turns up in, and really how she kind of defines the craziness of the world, and how no matter what, there's just so many paths untaken that it can be so overwhelming. And she describes it like this. Think about it. Think about how we start off as this set thing, like the seed of a tree planted in the ground. And then we grow. We grow. And at first, we are a trunk. But then the tree that is our life, develops branches. And think of all those branches departing from the trunk at different heights. And think of all those branches branching off again, heading in often opposite directions. Think of those branches becoming other branches, and those becoming twigs. And think of the end of each of those twigs, all in different places, having started from the same one. A life is like that, but on a bigger scale. New branches are formed every second of every day, and from our perspective, from everyone's perspective, it feels like a continuum. Each twig has travelled only one journey. But there are still other twigs, and there are other days, other lives that would have been different if you'd taken different directions earlier in your life. This is a tree of life. Lots of religions and mythologies have talked about the tree of life. It's there in Buddhism, Judaism and Christianity. Lots of philosophers and writers have talked about tree metaphors too. For Sylvia Plath, existence was a fig tree, and each possible life she could live. The happy married one, the successful poet one, was this sweet juicy fig, but she couldn't get to the taste of the sweet juicy fig, and so they just rotted right in front of her. It can drive you insane, thinking of all the other lives we don't live. She goes on a complete tangent after that about the current life that she is portraying and living within to be able to be speaking in this life. And even just that paragraph in itself I had to sit with for a minute, because it's beautiful literature. It's so captivating and stunning, and beyond anything, it is so true. Everyone can have their own ideals of what could have been, what could be, and what is laid out for us. But every day we are making decisions to affect the next without even knowing. And it's just so beautifully written that I'm just dazzled by the complexity and beauty of this book. It really is realistic, it's poetic, and honestly, I can't wait to read more of Matt Haig's. This is the first book I've read of his, and it makes me want to buy all his others. And he's got quite a few different books that he has, all I think quite philosophical, all quite making your brain hurt just a tad, but I think it will definitely be worth the read of all of them, even if you might need a cup of tea and a minute to yourself afterwards, because it definitely made me need that. But I'm so glad I picked this as my my payday pick of books, and I think everyone needs to read this. There's so many beautiful, touching parts in this book, and Nora is just a lovely, complex creature, just pursuing happiness and love in every avenue of her life, wherever it may be, to make whoever happy in that timeline, and just seeing how she can benefit and how she can just be happy. That's all she wants. And it's just understanding that no life is really perfect. There's so many complex changes and effects that we and other people can have, but happiness is gonna forever be pursued by everyone, and I feel like Nora does finally find it. Now, I really recommend this book. You must have it on your bookshelf. It is absolutely a joy to read. It's not that long, so it's not that time consuming. It wasn't that expensive either, so I'm kind of glad about that I found a great deal on Amazon. So I always recommend looking around and seeing what is out there to get the book. I really hope you enjoyed. Please like and comment down below if you haven't done so already, and subscribe so that you can join my little book family of talking about every type and every genre of book I can possibly get my hands on. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.